How are you?
So come on at the back. Mr. Perry Dyball gets to speak. Not that you haven't heard him enough tonight already, but I think that this event wouldn't happen without Perry. So I think he deserves a massive round of applause for that, because he puts in a huge work shift throughout the week for it. Throughout the year, sorry. And he has a new job and a conference to run and a meetup to run. He has a lot to do. And not only does he have all those things to do, but for some crazy reason, he turns up to do a talk at his own meetup. So, please welcome Mr. Perry Dyball, taking us back in time to before many of us were born.
Don't spoil my first line. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's harsh.
Right. Is that a challenge? Is that a challenge?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Perry Dyball with the really bad shirt.
Right. Most of you know I'm not a young chap anymore, right? I was born in 1964, right? Yeah, before we even won the World Cup, right? That's how long ago it is, right? Really is like 50x years of hurt now. Makes that song that was like 30 years of hurt sort of like, again, is history. But basically, right from the get-go, I was a geek. This was my favorite program on the TV. You might not remember this one. You may not remember all of the presenters, but Tomorrow's World is a BBC One program, about half an hour magazine, all about science, and I loved it. So when I was a little bit older, so 11, I started to play with friends Atari 2600 console. And as time kind of went on, like home computers started to come out, the kind of ZX80 and then 81, and then like a whole myriad of machines, all of which were quite popular, right? The one that I bought wasn't popular, right? Sorry? More popular than you, Michael. Yeah.
In those days, definitely.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So anyway, I remember this is that I came from kind of quite humble beginnings, and my mum and dad bought their first colour television for Christmas 1982. This little Mitsubishi number, and I managed to find it on the web, and it was like, again, two sort of like slider volume and brightness controls, and then like about 8 preset channel selectors, stuff like that. And then on this kind of, on the right hand as you're looking at it, was like a removable panel where you could plug stuff in. Ooh, exciting. I bought one of these, right? It's a machine called the Camputers Lynx. It was actually a really, really good machine. It was kind of by where I aspired was the BBC Micro. I couldn't afford one of those, right? But I kind of wanted to aim a little bit higher than the Spectrum, because I wanted a real keyboard rather than a rubber keyboard. And I bought one of these, and I paid about 225 quid for it, right? Half of my first year college grant went on this, right? And the other half went on a Mini Clubman. Right, and I was living at home, but this was in the days when you got a grant rather than a loan. So with that machine, I did some programming. I created some cassette tapes. I even wrote a game that was kind of sent to the manufacturer of the computer to be published. But before it could be published, they went bust, unfortunately. So again, that was kind of like an early learning for me, is don't expect software that you write to actually get to market. Right? It's quite often time that it goes things. And in the intervening years between 1984 and 2017, basically my game of life, right? moved down to London in 1985, sort of like moved around a few jobs like everybody else, had a few partners, met my wife, had children. They're now postgraduate university students and all this kind of thing. There's been a lot going on, and really I had no time to kind of like look at that program. But when recently I kind of got into the retro scene, and Sync and a group on Kickstarter brought out a new Spectrum called the Spectrum Next, and that's about to be issued out to the backers. Right, everything is going well with that as a Kickstarter. It's pretty good, and it kind of rekindled me to like, I'd really want to get that first program that I worked on running again. So in May this year, I had Expedition Loft. I've moved houses many times, but I'm a bit OCD when it comes to keeping packaging, right? My loft is full of boxes with just appliances not in them anymore. So I knew exactly where this box was in the loft, right? But I was going to be up there sometime because it was right at the back, right? But I kind of like, I got it out. It was still in its original, not even like its original packaging. I still had like even the postal delivery box that it was in. Came from a company called Data Post. So this is before the days of DPD and all those kind of things. Data Post was the one. And I uncased the machine, and because it had been in the loft and there's a lot of kind of copper wires around in the power unit and stuff like this, and the heat, like in your loft, you get a lot of heat in the summer, cold in the winter, and the copper like conductor, it had actually melted the wires of these kind of into the polystyrene. So it was like really quite a difficult job to get them out, but it left like worm trails all the way through there. But the machine itself was good. I found the original manual, my order receipt, and again, because the machine wasn't very popular, it had a limited software library, but I had a couple of books, a couple of user group manuals, and a few tapes, and a pin badge. And I really bet there's not very many of those around. So got it out, let it acclimatize for a little while. Bear in mind, it had been in my loft for like 30 odd years, right? So I wasn't necessarily hoping for the best. And of course, when I plugged it in eventually and turned it on, no beep. That was bad news. It was really sad. I thought, okay, so what am I going to do about this? I'm not going to be able to like load my tape onto this computer and get my game back. So many of you, if you're into retro computing, most computers have an emulator, and even this really quite rare computer, right, had two emulators. One called Pale, right, something Pete's Amazing Lynx emulator, I think it stands for, and this other one's called Jinx, right? Jinx was a little bit more sophisticated and more modern. And I can't kind of come on to that. So I got that fired up on my PC. So how on earth am I going to get my tape, my program that's recorded on cassette tape, right, to PC, right? So that is, I've got two tape players. That one worked, right? National Panasonic, quality build, right? The other one, I don't know what the make is. It's gone in the bin now because I played a music tape in it to see whether it was still working, and it was so scratchy. It was terrible. But this one, put it in, just cleaned the heads up with a little bit of white spirit and stuff like that. Let that dry out, and it was absolutely perfect. So connected that to my PC. Used a program called Audacity, and basically recorded the stream, the program, into Audacity. Now, I can't really tell what's going on at that kind of resolution, right? Because you can see that that's nearly 3 minutes worth of noise coming down the line that's recording. But I found on the interweb, right, documentation that was embedded in Pale that said that the start of program signal for the Camputers Lynx started with the signal A5 and that the wave pattern looked like that. So I expanded out my Audacity recording and I found it, right? Right? I thought, okay, interesting. So basically ended up splicing around the start of the tape, found the end of file markers and spliced at the end of that. And then it was a case of, right, well, okay, I've got like now what looks like a legitimate WAV file. But how can I convert it to like the Z80 tap format? That's most of the ZX, if you're into ZX Spectrums and a lot of the other Z80 based processors, the actual tape format file for that for emulators is called tap, right? And I kind of like went, right, okay. And I was faced with this marvelous user experience interface on the left-hand side. And it was like, and it really was a bit of trial and error to go through. But eventually I found the function that could like try to load that WAV file, and you're changing all kinds of parameters, kind of like, you know, like sound levels and all that kind of stuff. And eventually, boom, boom, it picked up the file name even. Boom, exact match on the byte length. I thought, we're rocking, right? So again, exported this out to tap format. And then I thought, okay, let's see if it loads in the emulator. Oh my God, it worked, right? 1983, okay, not too much of a UI going on there. This is kind of like the text intro screen. And I'll show you this working in a moment, right? But but I got it working after 34 odd years. It was pretty amazing. So maybe you're not wondering, but what happened to my dead Lynx? Well, I found this guy, this chap, right, as an individual guy running this little software company up near Newcastle, right? And he said that he was kind of like a pretty good like repair guy for these things. And basically I sent it off to him. I put a lot of faith, sent off my computer package up and sent it off to him. And it did take quite a while for it to come back. And I was a little concerned about it, right? Because one of these Lynxes, they like trading on eBay at like 600 quid because they are kind of rare. But he basically found out that the Z80 processor was blown. So that was a £2.25 repair, right? And also one of the EEPROMs that was holding the OS of the machine, effectively, there's two EEPROMs in this computer, and one of the EEPROMs was blown. And he told me that he had the actual chip, but where the hell could he get the ROM? And I said, I know where I can get the ROM. And I pointed again to another user group, and he downloaded it, flashed it, plugged it in, and it booted up. Amazing, right? So he basically sent it back to me, and now it's alive. All right, it's amazing. And that is kind of my game that I've got. Again, got a really not quite as retro as my mum and dad's like Mitsubishi, right? But I have got like an old 14-inch CRT going on there. So I'll give you a little demo of it, but I have to exit this to go first. But you know, so really was game over. So let me just show you how this is kind of going on, if I can find the cursor. This game is quite hard to play, right? Oh, right. So, because I can't see the screen very well, can you put, is that the file menu, yeah? Oh, is it, what's that one? Run tap file, right. And does that bottom one say Super Air Raid? Yeah. Ooh, that is the beep, right? So you had to do these kind of things, and there it is. This is beautiful to me, right? So that I kind of did this stuff. So hit any key. Let's see if that works. Yeah. So I won't, I'll kind of skip through all these intro screens to get to the actual action, right? Yeah, I wrote a lot of levels. Basically this game came as a one-level demo tape to the computer with no high score, no instructions, no anything. So I kind of basically, you know, no. Was I any good at it? Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, well, this is the thing. As like I say, it went to be published, right? But because they went bust, it never got published, right? So we'll put the sound on, right? And basically, you'll now see what this game is like. Sorry. Yeah. 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 So I won't sort of like kind of. It's quite difficult. Oh look. Yeah. Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Selling this for Christmas.
Absolutely. Right. So anyway, I won't go through all of this, obviously, because we need to. I can't finish the game. I do love that middle slot. But you know, right. But I don't know. Yeah, right. It's good. No, it's dead. It's dead. Right. So, if I can find out on the menu for a minute. No, it's another life, but I'm not going to kind of do that. But anyway, so look. Yeah. Right. So anyway, game has stopped. I'll try and do I think it's CLS. Oh no, I've got. Yeah, no, it's all right. I was just going to try and show you that there is actual code behind this thing, but it's using like the background graphics channel of the thing, so that's why it's only taken out like the green color, right? And then but the list is there. So it's actually it was only kind of around about 320 lines of code, right? This stuff obviously in BASIC, but stuff again. So really, that is it. That's my little basically restoring of my Camputers Lynx.